Lights on. Bay rumbling. The kind of movement you feel first in your chest and only the the phone lights up. I'm calling it like I'm living it. The board is set. The numbers line up. And the name you've been whispering all summer just walked into the frame with real weight. Before I open the last door, here's what I'm giving you today. How the Warriors quietly rewired their asset stack to chase a single elite outcome. Why the front office keeps pairing gravity with length in all their models. What Utah is signaling versus what they're actually solving. How the cap math and Stepien realities shape the only packages that matter. And what it looks like when a 7-footer who runs like a wing is dropped into a Curry-centric organism that feeds on panic and spacing. I'll take you from tape to timeline to dollars. I'll show you which offers get laughed off and which ones stop conversations. And I'll tell you exactly how this changes April, May, and the last 2 minutes of a Game 6. Keep your seat. I'm going to land the headline when it carries the right force. Not a second earlier, because the confirmation you want only makes sense quando voce intende oporqui. I start where it always has to start in Golden State, with the language we speak when the floor tilts. Our offense still lives on 2 laws of physics, Steph's gravity and the split-second read after the first advantage. The roster that makes those laws cruel for opponents has 3 recurring ingredients: a screener who can pass under pressure, a wing who lifts from the corner without clogging the lane, and a big who either hits threes or destroys the rim on slips. Lauri Markkanen's film lives right in that sentence. He doesn't just space, he stretches timing. Watch him ghost the ball screen and you'll see the weak side blink. Watch him trail an early offense and the defense has to choose between tagging the roller or giving a 7-footer a rhythm catch and shoot above the break. He's not a post-up life raft. He's an accelerant. That's what unlocked Donovan and Spurch in Utah, and what would turn our split action from clever to cruel. And the profile isn't theoretical. The man's a one-time All-Star with a portfolio that's real. Across his career, he's averaged around 18 points, 7 boards, a touch of everything else, and he brings legit touch at the line. Last season was choppy and Utah availability dipped. 3-point clip fluctuated, but the skill signals held. He still hit free throws in the high 80s, still got downhill on closeouts, still punished switches with that small forward body control and a power forward frame. You don't buy Lauri for ISO low post touches. You acquire him because he makes your best players more dangerous on every possession they touch the ball after he moves. Now let me wrap the context that matters in the league office and the owner's suite. Utah's public stance has been consistent enough to be predictable messages of we're not trading him. And we value him as a pillar, have been. Out there from voices close to the team. Cool, that's leverage language. It's what you say when you're rebuilding on the fly, and your only elite veteran asset either becomes your culture, keystone, or your gateway to a canyon of picks. There's no villain here. There's just a general manager who knows his time horizon. The Jazz come off a season that burned expectations to the ground, and they're back in the draft tunnel with cap room and a need for identity pieces. In that ecosystem, a 28-year-old star who will make around mid-40s this season and wants winning basketball. Tomorrow is either the banner you build under or the auction you win. Both can be correct depending on price. And in this league, repeat this with me, nobody above rookie scale is truly untradeable. They're just priced in a different currency. For the Warriors, currency is cap gymnastics plus patience plus the right rookies. This front office has quietly rebuilt its flexibility without giving up the soul of the team. We kept Steph as the sun, kept Draymond as the conductor. And we've grown real players who lift systems, not just highlight reels Podziemski with connective passing and rebounding that punches way above his size. Kuminga with that downhill terror that finally stabilized into repeatable reads. TJD giving real center minutes with hands and feel. That's not window dressing. That's leverage. Because what you can credibly offer now is not just picks in a contract dump, it's timeline diversity. You can give Utah unprotected first in the late 2020s when they matter most. plus swaps that weaponize our risk, plus a ready-to-play wing or forward who either becomes a keeper or gets monetized again at the next deadline. The math is never romantic. Salary has to match. On our side, that typically means Wiggins as the spine of any deal. His number aligns. He's still a real NBA defender who can score, and he's under control. From there, you choose your pain. Do you stack picks and swaps and try to protect the live young core? Do you add a mid-tier prospect like Moody to sweeten the floor of the offer? Do you dare put Kuminga in and then reduce the pick exposure? There's no free lunch, but there is a hierarchy. The packages that call Danny Ainge back are the ones that give him certainty in draft capital and optionality in players who can appreciate inside his system. I'll put my cards down. If it costs us 2 unprotected firsts, a swap or 2, Wiggins, and one of Moody, TJD, you don't hang up. You look your coach in the eye. You show him the rotations. And you ask the only honest question that matters in this window: does Lauri turn your best 5 into a lineup that bends series? Talk tactics with me for a second and feel this. Steph Lauri 2-man actions with Draymond as the delayed trigger destroy coverages because you can no longer top lock. Steph without giving a clean pick and pop at 26 feet to a 7-footer who actually wants the shot. You can't stay at the level on Steph without a backline rotation that opens a 45 cut for a lob or a drift to the weak corner. Inverted Spain, where Steph sets the back screen and Lauri pops. If you're late on either tag, it's a 3 or a dunk. Our split action on the right block, the staple we ran with Clay for a decade, becomes a different animal with Lauri ghosting into the slot. The defender either top locks Steph and dies on the slip, or plays honest and gets screen-re-screened until the wrong player is 2 steps behind. You want late-game counters? Dribble handoff at the nail, Draymond as the handoff hub. Steph lifting weak side. Lauri, inside out, fakes the handoff and attacks middle. Either it's a foul or the weak side tagger has to peel in. And now the corner 3 is a heartbeat away. It's not a highlight idea. It's a sequence you can run in a timeout down 2. Let's get uncomfortable and talk defense. People see a 7-footer who shoots and assume turnstile. That's lazy. Lauri's not Jaren Jackson Jr. at the rim. He's not Wemby, but he's long, mobile, and committed to positional discipline. In Utah's best mids, they toggled him between the 4 and a stretch 5 look. He moved well enough to survive switches in pockets, and when he sits in a drop at the level, he's big enough to bother floaters. On our side, the point isn't making him a stopper. It's making the machine around him cruel again. Draymond next to any big with a pulse is a defensive floor raiser. Draymond next to a big who can credibly switch once and then scramble is back to being a ceiling elevator. At the wings, we can throw Kuminga chasing, GP 2 hands when healthy, Pods rebounding from the guard line, and you no longer have to sell out on every strong side action. The analytics crowd will tell you that defensive success for us has always been less about one elite rim protector and more about chained half rotations that turn layups into floaters and floaters into reset passes. Lauri is long enough and smart enough to play in that scheme without turning it into a foul parade. The risk is real, so let's name it. When you push chips for a star in his prime on a big number, you sign up for opportunity costs. Those late-decade firsts become scary if Steph's window shuts faster than we think. Wiggins leaving takes away a body you trust in deep waters, even with his inconsistencies. If Utah holds out for Kuminga, you're cutting into a development arc we helped create with patience. He's earned the right to be considered a core piece, not a sweetener. And Lauri's health profile matters. Last season, he played under 50 games, and you cannot tape a championship to a stationary bike. So you stress test the plan. You run the what-ifs. What if Lauri misses 18 games? Do we still have enough scoring when Steph sits? What if a lineup with Draymond at 5 and Lauri at 4 bleeds offensive rebounds? Can TJD close certain matchups to fix that? Those are fair conversations, and this front office isn't allergic to them. The difference, this time, is the payoff. Because if this works, you don't just get better, you get a playoff identity that fits both the last 10 years and the next 2. I've danced around the door long enough. Here's where I am, and I'm saying it straight. Inside league rooms, the Warriors have moved from exploratory checking to real positioning on Lauri. The capital is identified, the role is defined, and the appetite from ownership to add a star who scales with Steph is there. Utah will say publicly and privately that they are not trading him. I hear it. I believe they're not shopping him. But every signal that actually moves deals the price whisper. The pick construction they'll take, the types of players they want back has been mapped. We're past fantasy. We're in viability. And when viability hits a franchise that knows how to close, confirmation stops being a tweet and starts being a timeline. That's where we are tonight. The league doesn't hand out certainty. It offers leverage and deadlines. We've created both. Bring it home with brass tacks. What does a Lauri Warriors team look like on day 1? Offense. 5-out spacing with real size. Curry's off-ball life restored to full cruelty. Draymond re-centered as a passing fulcrum, not an emergency scorer. And the young core eating on cuts because the weak side is terrified of abandoning. A 40+% free throw line to arc shooter who punishes late contests. Bench units that used to stall get a release valve run delay with Lauri as the trailer. Let Pods and Moody ping the ball side to side until someone falls asleep, then punish with a pop or a duck in. Endgame set. Spain pick and roll with Steph as the back screener. Lauri popping if you switch it. Steph screens a big and forces a guard onto Lauri above the break. If you don't, the roller is free or Steph relocates for a catch and shoot that should honestly be illegal. Defense. We toggle coverages. Against Jumbo 5s, we close with TJD next to Lauri and let Draymond quarterback from the wing, trusting our guards to fight through and our bigs to contest without fouling. Against spread offenses, we close with Draymond at the 5, Lauri at the 4, and dare you to score enough layups to beat a math problem that gives Steph and Lauri 23 combined threes in rhythm. It's not a fantasy roster on paper. It's a coherent rotation on hardwood. The external noise. I welcome it. Jazz won't trade him. Good. That's what you say until the third first becomes unprotected. Warriors can't outbid X. Maybe. But identify the teams who both want him and can actually send the picks plus a wing Utah can showcase right now. Then look at our willingness to take money back cleanly and to put swaps on years that truly hurt. It's not about shouting. It's about bringing the one offer that makes a front office say, we can reset our clock with this. The phrase you'll hear around deals like this is inevitable path. It's the road that opens when both teams have a reason to move at the same time. Utah gets control of our late-decade draft future plus a wing or 2. Golden State gives Steph an elite stretch forward who shifts the geometry of every possession. That's an inevitable path, not a fairy tale. I'll stop and breathe with you because I know how this fan base thinks. We've loved. We've worried. We've argued over prospects and vets and timelines. I'm not asking you to forget the costs. I'm asking you to see the window with honest eyes. Championship basketball at this level is about stacking unfair matchups. Curry plus Lauri plus Draymond is 3 unfair problems at once. One warps your top lock rules. One warps your weak side tags. One turns every late clock possession into a test you don't have study sheets for. Surround that with wings who cut, screen, and shoot just enough. And you get back the thing we've missed most since the last parade. Inevitability. Here's my concise read. As promised, now that we've walked the whole road, the Warriors have positioned the picks, the salary, and the role to land Lauri Markkanen. Utah's public posture masks a front office calculus that will engage at the right price. If Golden State crosses that threshold without mortgaging the entire young core, the basketball fit turns from rumor to reality very fast. Now it's your turn. Tell me below whether you put Kuminga in if it cuts a first, whether you'd rather stack picks and keep the kids, whether you close with Draymond at 5 or TJD for size, and how you deploy Lauri on opening night. Drop your take, be specific, and hit me with the lineups you trust in a Game 6. And if you want every twist of this chase as it happens, real breakdowns, not noise, subscribe now, turn on notifications. And stay with me here on Warriors News Fan Report. The Bay is buzzing for a reason. The door's open. Now we finish the job together.